So yesterday I decided to make my first batch of homemade root beer tea, and I did it because I found a number of these little saplings growing in the woods. I'm going to ignore the rooster. And this is a sassafras plant, and sassafras is an amazing little tree. It has all parts of it are edible and delicious. It's recognizable by its little, some people say they're mittens. I think they kind of look like little ghosts, you know, if they're kind of like this. Some of them have, they're all different shapes, their leaves. You kind of see you have kind of a regular shaped leaf like this, but its trademark or a way to identify it is these kind of three-lobed leaves. But then sometimes you'll have two-lobed leaves. So this is, I guess, an unusual thing in the plant kingdom to have multiple different shaped leaves. But, so onto its tasty side. Each of these leaves, so sometimes I'll just go around and chew on these. They've got almost like a lemon lime citrus flavor, so that makes me think it would be in Chinese medicine, good for qi stagnation in the belly. And also when you chew it, I'm not going to do it right now because I can't talk, but when you chew it, it makes this kind of mucilaginous texture in the mouth. So you kind of got the lemon lime, and then it kind of makes this really viscousy gooey stuff. And so it reminds me a lot of like a marshmallow root or other type of plant that's used for nourishing membranes, as well as what we would call like a yin, stomach yin tonic, where it's going to help lubricate and protect the linings of the GI tract. Here's another one over here. Watch out for the poison ivy. And again, you can see it has kind of the three unique, oh look, there's a teeny tiny one. So there's like a little baby one of those three lobe leaves, and then some, like a sort of tiny one with a single lobe, and then here's your trademark little Casper the Friendly Ghost looking one. And so what you can do with this, it's been used for a really long time in colonial America. It was seen to be used by Native Americans. Primarily the root and the bark was shaved off and used in a number of medicinal syrups and drinks. It was seen to be a blood purifier. And when colonists came here and they saw people using the root, so then they tried it and realized how tasty it was, and then it became used as the primary ingredient to flavor what was now later known as root beer. But then in the 1900s, maybe it was 1800s, I think it was up until 1900, it was mixed with sugar and milk and sold all over Europe, primarily in England, but as a tasty beverage. And so I looked up a recipe of how to make your own sassafras tea, which also has that unique root beer taste. And so what you do is, these little saplings grow, here's that one we're looking at, all over the place. So you can just kind of basically pull them up. I mean, I guess you could dig them up if you wanted more of the root. There we go. Okay. I don't have an assistant. So anyway, so usually you get about that much of the root left. And so you basically chop up the root. I chopped it up into little half-centimeter pieces. I had about, I don't know, like a half cup or a quarter, about a half a cup of chopped pieces that then I mixed with about, I don't know, 4 or 5 cups of water and boil it down, and with a cinnamon stick. And it made a delicious concentrate that you can add a little bit of maple syrup and water, sparkling water, and it makes basically like a root beer tasting beverage, which is really yummy and has some medicinal properties to it. But what's interesting about this is it was banned in the US in the 60s, and part of that came from a study that was done on rats where they took the root, and instead of just boiling a little bit in water, which is the mode of ingestion that everybody was using, they used petroleum and extracted this oil concentrate, and then they fed this oil concentrate to rats in really high doses and found that it gave them liver damage, which I think the equivalent would be like we would have to consume 170 pounds in a given day boiled down. And anyway, it's humanly impossible basically to drink the amount of saffron oil that they gave those rats. And anyway, it was banned. So there's a couple different theories of why that was. One thing I read said they think it was Coca-Cola who was advocating, because they found root beer was cutting into their sales, and so if they banned the primary taste ingredient, then it wouldn't compete with Coca-Cola as much. Another one is that saffron oil, which is one of the oils extracted from the root, is also been used in MDMA processing, which I don't really know the details about that, but that was also possibly a secondary thing. But I don't think MDMA was a big risk back in the 60s, and so maybe we'll settle with Coca-Cola. But anyway, from what I've read, it's perfectly safe. People have been drinking it for hundreds of years, and it is pretty tasty. And the leaves too. Oh, I forgot. So the leaves also, because of that mucilaginous quality I was telling you about before, it is used in the South, primarily in Cajun cooking, as a thickener for gumbo. So you can dry this leaf, crumble it up, and then you put it in the soup to help thicken it up, kind of like a cornstarch or an arrowroot, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a fabulous plant. It grows all over the place up here in the Northeast and has a lot of both culinary and medicinal uses. That's sassafras.